Thank you very much. We will get started. This is very loose. This is for you. It's to answer your questions. And so, demonstrations. Scott, I don't know if you have anything particular up front you want to show to kick it off, or if you want to just react to questions as they come, and do demonstrations, based on those questions. We're, kind of at your convenience and demand today.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't everybody, let's start out with some Q&A, and that can lead into some demos, perhaps if there's something they need to know.
Okay. And kind of base it off of any questions you have gotten or any troubles that anybody's been having. Maybe we could just at least follow up and make sure all those troubles are resolved.
There's one I'm aware of offhand that somebody, I believe it's in Cape Coral, was having a licensing issue. And it has to do with, well, we're not sure exactly what's happening there, but they're unable to get a copy of their license from the site that issues the licenses. I've done a bunch of research on it, and I've come up with a solution. I gave them one possible solution. There's another one that I know will work, and in fact, I'll be testing it tomorrow on a system I'm building, which is another outfit that's licensed to distribute the software.
Oh,
And it's a little bit different in that it requires them to install an engine, to install the software, but then you can disable the engine so you don't have to use it online. But at any rate, I'll be putting that all together and testing. Okay, so the site you would look for is called Steam. And can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, you go there and go to all. And I'm just showing you that it's there. Okay, go up here, virtual sailor. And there it is, so you could download it from them and install it. As I said, you have to put an engine in for Steam first, but once that's in, you can install it and then you can disable the engine because normally these play online. In this case, you would do it offline and it would operate just like the normal virtual sailor.
okay.
So that's a solution to that particular problem. And like I said, I'll be testing that tomorrow, and I'll drop some documentation on precisely how to do that, which gives us a second way to be able to get the software without having to jump through some hoops.
Great. Great. That's terrific. Did the person, was it,
Neil something, I
is,
thought.
is there still a problem there? Or are they still?
I haven't heard from them recently, so I'm not sure
Neil.
what their status. There was an email from Miles about it, and I told him I would be addressing that today in the call.
Okay. Okay.
So
Well,
once I get the documentation put together, I will get back in contact with them and tell them here's what to do.
Right, we will open it up for questions, Q&A. Let Scott kind of drive any issues we want to demonstrate.
Hey, Scott.
Yes.
Ed Maxwell, Peace River.
Okay, hold on. Who's that?
Ed Maxwell, the commander of Peace River.
Oh, okay.
Hey, we've got a brand new unit here that we finally got and unboxed and got it set up in the classroom. our biggest problem with it, and you've answered this in email, I just want to put it out here for this, is the throttle. There's no real definition of when you're in neutral, when you're in forward, when you're in rear and reverse. You said that you're going to be working on that and that there'll be a fix coming in the future. Is that correct?
Yes, actually, I have extensively redesigned the internals of that. I've tightened it up. I think Don Peterson had a problem with the throttle being loose.
Yeah.
Well, I've addressed that and I've tightened it up. So the only issue there right now is logistics of how we go about doing this, because it's you could probably do it yourself. It'd probably be easier to send it to me and have me do it.
Right, well, that's my question. Are we going to be able to send these back to you and get them fixed and get it back in a timely manner?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yes.
It's more of I just have to take it apart, put a couple parts in, and then put it back together. It's not a big deal.
So you answered my question, Scott. Does it take a full replacement, or is it something you can use their original unit and just
I
update
would
some
I would
changes?
use the original unit and just update a couple parts in it.
That's
It's
great.
just you could do it, but it's very awkward to get inside of the thing, and I've practiced it a few times now, so I can do it where you would probably do like I did, muddling your way through it for a couple hours before you figured out how to get it apart.
How many people are experiencing this? Like, what kind of? Well, I'm always aware of volume and hitting Scott with a lot of volume all at once. I've heard two. Is there more?
We haven't described the problem yet.
That the throttle really doesn't lock into a detente like neutral, where you don't kind of feel it click into neutral or forward or back.
And the throttle, it's on some of them is loose and needs some to be firmed up.
So you're
So
adding a detent to it?
Uh, yes, there's a detent to it, becomes much more noticeable.
And
Okay.
Scott, have you already sent out some throttles with the updates so other people wouldn't be feeling this at all, or do you feel like
Right.
all of them?
There would be some who would not. They've got the V2 version of the throttle. They seem to be working pretty well, so I was ready to start getting with people. And like I said, the issue here is logistics. I don't want to have everybody mail me 10 throttles at once that I have to sit down and go through. That just drags it out. It's better if we can stagger them over some time.
Well, certainly if we had Peace River and Dawn come in, you've got a couple, we could start with those as priorities.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
What address should we use?
You can send them to my home address.
One thing that I did is I adjusted the software so that the center position was wider. So nothing happened, so it would be essentially zero for a much larger space. So when you brought the throttles to neutral, you didn't have to have them in the exact spot. You had some leeway, and that definitely helped.
Yeah, the dead zone.
Yeah.
Does everybody know how to adjust the dead zone on the throttles?
Scott, this is Ted Reese.
Yes.
You've told me how to do that, but I've only been able to make the dead zone go towards forward, but not into reverse. Is there a way to have the dead zone also into reverse?
That should work in both directions. I've not run into a problem where it only worked in one direction. I'll let me make a note of that, and I'll do some research on that and see if there's something there. But I've not run into that. No.
Okay, thank you.
And Scott, another problem that I have with ours is that the throttles don't advance together. If you just grabbed them both and ran them forward, they don't come up together. One comes up much quicker than the other.
There
Is
is
that
a,
dead zone thing or?
um, that's probably not the dead zone so much, although that could affect it. Um, Part of that is the sensitivity setting, and there's a slider under each throttle
Why don't you bring
on
that up?
the
so you can show
software.
us?
Let me bring that up and show you here. Um, Hold on,
That's
let me
one thing I
see.
did too, is I really reduced the sensitivity because you'd have a tendency to move the throttles a very small amount and the thing would be going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, I got
Yes.
one that does that and one that doesn't at all.
Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you would go into settings, joystick. Okay, right here. See that
Mhm.
slider? That adjusts the throttle. Well, it adjusts whatever you happen to be on there. So your throttle is typically going to be your, I believe your y-axis and slider 1. And you would take those and you can adjust the sensitivity here for each of those throttles independently. And then when I was talking about the dead zone, that's up here. That's this. And you can adjust that. And that's what he was talking about there, that gives you a wider zone of it's not so responsive. Does that make sense?
So in other words, that dead zone is kind of like neutral.
It's a zone. It's a zone that doesn't do anything. So if you have, okay, who's got their echo on? If if you're in neutral and your dead zone is, say, down here, oops, there. If it's down here, it's going to respond instantly when you adjust the throttles. If you slide it up some, it's going to take longer before it starts to respond. It's going to be a little more sluggish on the response. And you just have to sort of play around with that to find what is a comfortable setting.
Okay.
And
Scott,
that,
a quick, this is Ryan down in Peace River. A quick question on the sensitivity. Left is less sensitive, right is more sensitive, or vice versa?
left should be less sensitive, right should be more sensitive.
Okay, thank you.
Unless of
But
course
now,
you've clicked the reverse button, in which case it's reversed.
now the dead zone should affect both throttles equally at the
Yes.
same time.
Yes, it will also affect the wheel a little bit in that it will put a little bit of dead zone in the wheel so it won't be so twitchy. Another thing I can show you here, since we're talking about the responses, let me go into, I'm just going to pick something here and bring it up to show you. If you go into, okay, selecting a vehicle, there is a setting here. There's a bunch of tabs they aren't real obvious down here across the bottom. And
Oh.
they can very much affect things and how they work. One of the things you can adjust here, go into adjusting, and right here, performance. And now you've made notice sometimes in neutral, it keeps moving a little bit. Okay, you can go in here, and this is on a per vessel setting. you go in here and see this is all flatlined up here. Add unity or one. You can take this is neutral, this is forward, this is reverse. I can take neutral and pull the performance down and say neutral is 0. And I can adjust the performance curve all along here of how I want the performance of it to act at any given setting of the throttle. So that's something you have to play around with to see what works and what doesn't work for you. But as it stands, that would give you a more graduated control of the throttle there. Now I have a basic setting for this that I can send out that you can load in, and it will take and create a bit of a generic profile, which is better than the existing profiles that come with it.
Please do.
Does this make sense to you, what I'm doing here?
And you're saying that by moving neutral down to 0 there, that will keep the boat. I mean, so once you stop the boat, it will hopefully not move anymore other than based on the wind.
Yeah, that should, it will certainly have a very large effect on it, yes.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those, you may have to play around with it, and it's on a per boat basis, but I will send you a generic profile and instructions how to stick it into the directory so that you can pick up that profile. And then down here, you would, if I made this my new profile and it worked, I could click Save Profile, give it a name. That's my new engine profile.
And will that be brought up again the next time you use that?
Yes.
You save it, yes.
Yes, if you save it, that will become default. I will also send you, like I said, the default one that I've been working on that seemed to have a pretty good effect on it.
Scott, when you put that in and you save the profile, does it stay with that vessel no matter what
Yes.
situation you're in?
Yes.
It sticks with the boat, not
It's
with the profile.
right. It sticks with the boat. That profile will stick with the boat as long as you hit Save Profile. If you hit Reset, then it resets it all back. Delete deletes it. This would let you could actually build a number of different profiles and load them, give them each a different name, so you can play around and experiment with it till you find one that you like. Okay, we good there? Questions?
I have a new question.
Okay.
I was trying to find one of the maps or one of the locations that had some docks that I could use to practice docking with. And I had a devil of a time finding any of the standard locations to have that, except for maybe Miami. I found a little more detail on the maps there. Am I missing something? Is there some place I'm supposed to be going to get more accurate maps for either our current location or other parts of Florida?
No, those are, if you've got the ones that are there, let me bring it up here. Okay. Where's this?
You're not in Florida.
Caribbean.
No. Okay. So the ones I have in here right now are probably the Tampa. There's a couple Tampa ones where there's good docks, and really, and I've been working on this off and on. You have to sort of hunt around, and the way you find them. Let me get out of here for a second. Let's go load a situation, and let's take a look at. There we go. Let's load that one.
How do they get that docking marina on their menu if they don't have it right now?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't recall seeing that on, as
Oh.
an option.
Okay. I thought I had those all listed in there. It's possible I might have missed a couple. Anyway, this is actually the Tampa.
Right.
And I could show you the way you spot docks is you zoom in and there they are. But
Mhm.
it's a trial and error sort of thing.
Yeah, that's where
And
I thought your docking
and
exercise kind of eliminated that and got them started right at the dock, which was
yeah, that's what I have here. And if yours isn't there, what I'll do is I'll put these out on the website where you can download them. I thought I had put them on everybody's, but there may be a couple that didn't get in there for some reason.
So what website are you going to put this on? I'm not sure I know where that is.
The MuVIT website, MuVIT-boating.com.
MuVIT-boating.com.
That's where you would go to download all the sceneries and boats and stuff like that.
Okay.
Also
Okay.
to read the blog of the newest information coming out. Problems that have been seen in the past and resolved. It's a lot of good information out there.
Okay.
Now,
really
one
want
thing
that.
I'd tell you, if you're did you DIY or did you get a turnkey system?
Well, I sort of inherited it from the people from the education group that originally purchased it, and I'm not really sure how it was originally set up, to be honest. I'm with Sanibel Captiva, so I'm not sure.
This was a turnkey.
That turnkey?
That was
Okay.
a turnkey.
Okay. Those should have been in there, but if they weren't, I will see to it that you get those. That's
Well,
Santa.
if you've got them
Right?
out on there, I can certainly find them.
Okay, give me a day or two to work on that.
Okay. And so this particular area, it has Tampa mapped out pretty well. Is there any for the Fort Myers area?
I did not find any, but I haven't looked everywhere. I had some requests for people to look in other places, and I found some out west Oregon-ish area. But I could certainly go look around. And where's that, Fort Myers?
Yeah.
On the maps there. It's mainly just an exercise in looking at the maps to find them. What I want to start doing is putting together a list of where they can be found. And then people can, once they find them, create their own situations for those.
Right.
And actually, if you want to know how to create a situation, I think, Betty, you asked about that. I can show you while we're in here how to do that.
I
Okay.
think the best thing you could possibly do is kind of teach the teachers and if they can you know, if they have videos they want for their classes, if you could walk them through even just how to capture a video, I think that could help all of us, because then we could share, you know, share the videos back to you, and you could upload them on the site, and then everybody could download, you know, different scenarios, which is kind of where we're wanting to go.
Okay. Okay. The videos, I'll have to figure out how to show you that, because that's actually the tools I use. You probably don't want to try to wrestle with those, but I think there's probably some easier ones to use out there. Now, if you have, let's say you're in this situation here where you want to save this, okay? You would set up just like normal. You would put your boat in the scenery. You would pick your scenery. This just happens to be the one we have at the moment. Okay, this works just like any other Windows tool. You would go up here, instead of file, it says situation. Go down here to save. And then fill in the blanks here. You would give it a name. In this case, I might call it Tampa Test Doc. And then you could put a comment in there and then save it. Now, if you want to go load that, then you can either go here or let's exit out. That will now exist in here. And we can scroll down. Let's find it. Tampa Test Doc. You would click that and then click Start.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed Maxwell with Peace River. Again, I'm not familiar with the system that well. I haven't used it, but do we have, as a squadron, the capability to go out? Like, we have 4 major gas pumps on Charlotte Harbor at 4 marinas. Do we have the ability to put those marinas into the system so that during an ABC class or something, we could actually teach our students how to approach and dock at one of our local gas docks?
Okay. Yes. Let me okay, so there I've showed you how to start that up. So that's how simple it is to save a situation and then restart it again. Okay, now to your question. That's the short answer is yes, but there's a very long ellipse at the end of that. It can be done. You're going to have to get into scenery settings, and that is something that is more than I can teach you right now, right here. I sent Betty a list of where to look up the documentation for creating scenery and adding things. Yes, you can add things in there, but it's going to take some planning. It's not a, it's not a simple just drag and drop sort of thing. Well, it is, but it's not. Anyway, that's something would probably be maybe best done as a separate seminar.
Okay. Hey, Scott, I'm just trying to take notes on these various questions and things, follow up. That sounds like a really great separate seminar, because I think everybody's going to be asking, you know, how do I get scenery I want? How do I get a particular setting I want, you know, where I can save a venue, or I can easily get back to my area or my docking scene. So that could be something we could set up separately. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, but I just showed you how to save those and that. So that's how simple it is.
But she's talking about creating a scenery.
A new
Oh,
scenery in a different place.
Well, okay, yeah, you can, yeah, we would probably do that as a separate, because that is much more involved than, and to be honest, I still have to spend some time, some more time fooling around with that myself.
I mean, you mentioned sending something to Betty. Is it something you've already created that you could just forward to me and I could, I could disseminate?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the documentation about it. Actually, I just turned it all into PDF files last night.
Well,
So
that's perfect.
I'll probably just stick them out on the website and people can download them.
Awesome. If you wouldn't mind, just sending me a copy too, and I'll just send them out and say it's on the website and here's a copy.
Yeah, there's always been links to how to do that on the website. Um, yeah, I'll put out a couple things here. One is if you have questions, contact me directly. Don't go through a third party because it just slows down getting answers. If you run into something you want an answer on, just shoot me an email, call me, leave a message. I'll get back to you with an answer, or at least, wow, I don't know, but I'll find out.
This is John Seaman again from Sandcap. One of the things that just on the very simple basis of like you zoom into a particular area that doesn't have detailed maps, and it doesn't, I mean, other than the water and a piece of land, there doesn't appear to be any detail. I mean, not the who, a marker, all of that seems as though that has to be created if you want that level of detail. Is that correct?
You should have that in the Florida scenery, should have a lot of those in there.
Well, I picked Fort Myers as an example, and I mean, there isn't a marker, there isn't, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, it's just water and a blank piece of land.
Can we pull that? Can we pull that up, honey?
Yeah, I'm doing that now. Hold on. Am I still sharing? Am I still sharing my
You're still
screen?
sharing.
Okay. Wait a second here. Okay. You see there all those black. This is Tampa Bay, just to give an example. All the black things there those are atons. If you zoom in on them, you'll typically get the colored ones after a while. But black usually indicates that they're also lighted. So if you were doing a nighttime navigation, those would show up as red or green lights. Do you not get these showing up in your maps?
I think there were some, but if they're only lighted ones, now I see you have a lot of them around the Fort Myers, that channel. I don't
Yeah.
recall.
Yep.
I don't recall there being that many.
Let's
You zoom in.
God, this is Don. I'm on the same thing that you're on, but I have no markers. I'm looking at Fort Myers Beach and I've got no black dots, no atons.
okay.
Yeah, this looks like a lot more detail than I have. I actually can see the
Yeah.
Santal Lighthouse on here, and on mine, I don't have that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, okay. I'll pass Mark
but I
soon.
mean, those the markers that you see there, I mean, there's way more markers than that. I mean,
Oh yes, there are.
Oh,
Okay,
so
there's an example of one of
yeah.
them. So you should be able to find these on yours. If they're not showing up, let me,
So, I mean, is there anything, I mean, has anybody created something that you can take a nautical map and feed it into this thing and generate more? I mean, have it include more of the markers, whether they're lighted or not,
generally you have to drop them in there.
all by yourself? Okay.
Yeah.
But is there a process for that that can be posted?
Yeah, that's what all the documentation is. I've had links to this documentation for a couple years out there. So apparently nobody's been reading that. But
Well, I've seen it. I mean,
it-
it's quite elaborate. I mean, to add scenery is this is not a trivial thing to do.
no,
No,
no, not at all. That's why I was saying it's more than I could go into right now. It's something that is going to have to take a separate, like a seminar or something, just about that.
Yeah, yeah. So we'd have to really spend some time building the local area and building all the paytons and
Yeah, you've got the basic area
yeah.
already there.
But
But
the
to
land looks like it's got more stuff on it than mine, but
Oh, wait a minute, Ben.
I got a question.
yeah, I'm not sure. I have to look and see. You're with
Sanibel,
Sanibel.
Sanibel.
yeah.
Okay.
Someone else said they didn't have it either, and I was
Yeah, I was
Ah.
gonna say, in anything,
Mr.
any you can
Mr.
find
Peterson.
on share with all of us.
Okay, I will look into that. It might be a case of you might have the wrong map in there, in which case we can fix that.
Right.
Because there's two versions of the Florida map. One version has all the ATONs and a lot more detail. The other version does not have the level of detail. And I was specifically putting in the ones that have the detail, but I don't know. I will look and see what's going on. I'll probably have to send you a couple emails to see where we're at with that.
This is Don Peterson. I'm looking at the Florida South scenery, and it does not have the ATONs. So am I looking at the wrong scenery? Should I be on something else?
You should have. I will. Okay, which squadron are you with, Don?
San Carlos Bay,
San Carlos. Okay.
Fort Myers Beach.
Yeah, he'd be looking for the same scenery I would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's my
What-
point
what-
is
what I
by squadron, if it's something that you can share to everybody, then they may all be having the same problem. Or do you think it's just by a particular squadron that had an order that was uploaded in a different way?
um
I
it,
DIYer and Sandcap, you guys bought a full assistant. So
I will look into that. I can send you the I can set it up so that you can download the scenery, and I'll put some simple instructions in there how to install it.
thank you.
This is Ted Reese. Scott, I'd like to get that same information. I know the Marco Island area does not have all the buoys that are really there, but when we use it to help people on the whole device for docking, we just use the area up by Tampa that you showed, and that works fine for us for docking. And we don't really need to have them just drive around Marco Island. So, but I'd like to know what's really involved in putting in the scenery if we we really want to try to customize what we have to make it look like the real waterways around Marco.
Okay, well, I will put, like I said, I'll put the stuff out there, the documentation on how to do scenery and the tools that are involved. It's like like I said, it's a non-trivial pursuit, but we can all sort of work at it together, I guess, and see what we can do.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Scott, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Now, once you have your boat firmly planted on the beach, how do you get it off?
Oh, okay. The easy solution. Well, actually, let's do this. Let's firmly plant a boat on the beach. See this little check mark here says on ground. If I don't have that check, then it won't allow me to put a boat on the ground. Okay, so now okay, Betty, I've put your boat firmly on the beach. The simple way to get off of that would be to just get into your map, your chart, go to here, click out here and say move to point. And yes, and there you go, you're back out in the water. Easy peasy.
Thank
Does that
you.
answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thanks much.
And saved her the cost of calling CETO.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, in case you haven't run across it yet, you can run yourself out of fuel. And if you do that, remember the part, let's see here, where was it? Change vessel. You would go into here and say, refuel. You can also click here and sink your boat, break my boat and sink it. Or if you've damaged your vessel and you don't want to have to go restart the whole thing over again, you can just click here on repair.
But once you're sunk, you're sunk.
Yeah. Once you're on the bottom, well, game over. Play the little Frogger sounds.
I need that break and sink for my real boat on the Carolina coast. I can't. Any other questions?
Okay, I will, let's see, who were the ones who have the throttle issues offhand? So I can contact them.
Don Peterson,
And you're with San Carlos, right?
right?
River.
In Peace River, okay.
And
Ted, we
we
work out about the dead zone.
Right.
Sanibel Captiva, our throttle could use your adjustments as well. I mean, I've sort of, I use the dead zone to solve it, sort of, but it's very loose.
Okay, I will contact each of you and we'll see what we can figure out logistically to get those to me and work with both our schedules to get that resolved. That good for you?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Just one other question. This is John Seaman again. In terms of the scenery and the maps and all that, I mean, other than yourself, this whole visual sailor must be a product that they're selling to more than just the Power Squadron. So,
Oh, yes.
Oh,
is
absolutely.
is there a community out there that, other than just MuVIT boating, is there another community out there where they're sharing scenery and or selling it?
Yes, and actually, if you look on my website, I have links to all that.
Okay, all right.
Look in the tab marked add-ons, and there's vessels. There's hundreds of vessels you can download and install. Everything from tiki log graphs up through aircraft carriers. It's a little bit of everything there. And there's also large selections of scenery. Now, a lot of it is European, um, but there are a number. I've tried to install the majority of the US centric ones on the systems I've done. But people who build turnkey systems or build their systems themselves are sort of at the mercy of having to go find these and pull them in themselves. That's why I've tried to put links on the website to say, here's where to go to get these things. And I'm going to try and put them together so that, like the ones that I would install on a turnkey system, I'm going to try and get it out there so you can go, oh, okay, I don't have the 1210 chart. Here, let me download the 1210 chart, and here's the instructions to install it.
That would be huge. That's great. That'd be great.
Okay. I will check it out.
But all those things take me a bit of time. So you just have to, actually what you can do is check the blog on the Facebook group for MuVIT periodically. And that's where I update a lot of this stuff when I'm making additions or changes, or I run across a bug on something, I'll document it there with a workaround.
Is the Facebook page also Move It Dash Boating?
Yeah, actually, if you go to the MuVIT website, there's a link that'll take you right to the Facebook page.
Okay.
Got Don Peterson again. My
Yes.
biggest question is, what are people doing with these systems? Are any of you guys actually using it in class or in special sessions, or how is it being used around town here?
It's Ted Reese from Marco. The big thing that we're using it for is to help people learn how to dock a boat. Starting with calm water and then building up the current or wind just so that they can deal with docking. That's the big thing that people here on Marco have asked about. When we do it, we let them go out into open water and just run the boat. But what they really want to do is to learn how to dock the boat, which is why the throttle settings are so important.
And that's actually what I hear from most people. The main thing they're looking for is to be able to practice docking. Which, that brings me to one of the things I'm working on now, and I have to, and again, it's sort of a process. As on the tablet, I will be adding some new functionality to the tablets. I covered that in one of my blog posts. I'll be putting on docking where you can actually tie up to the dock and select your tie points. I will also be adding a bird's eye view so that you can get up above and look down at how your docking is going. That's a little more involved because that's a per vessel setting. But I'll be having, I'll provide files that you can work with on that, as well as some, I was going to do a YouTube on how you can adjust that yourself if you want to on the DIY settings, DIY systems.
This is John Seaman again. I have to admit, I haven't gotten to the point of even trying to use the tablet. What is the purpose of the tablet?
The tablet, instead of using the keyboard, like, to press M to bring
Right.
up the chart or R for radar,
Right.
the tablet has the buttons on it that say radar, chart, engine
Uh,
start, stop. So it's all very obvious what they are. And then I'm adding additional buttons to the tablet for that. So you don't have to go hunting on your keyboard. What button do I push? And if you're ever at a loss as to which button to push, go to help, keys.
Yep.
That'll tell you what all the different buttons on your keyboard do. And oh, and
Got like GPS on there, fish finder kind of things.
yep, yep. And here's the actual manual for a virtual sailor. And that would be in the help manual. So that would be where we read the fine manual.
So
Put in,
the tablet functions, is this something you created, or is that something that you got from Virtual Sailor as well?
That's something I created
Oh, okay.
to make it easier for people to operate with it.
Okay.
And that's why I'm adding additional functionality.
Scott, this is Ted Reese. When you come up with what you want to put on the tablet, will you let us know when you've done that, and then how we can add that feature of having the bird's eye view on the tablet?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, there will be instructions, and some of them, like the bird's eye view, actually requires you to put a file on the laptop, but I'll document all the process for that. And oh, when I
Is anybody
get
else
ready, when I
using
get
it?
when I get ready to release that, that'll be posted both on the blog page and on the Facebook page. That's available for download.
I was the only one who responded to actually using it. Was anybody else want to comment on how they're using it?
We've used it in classes for docking typically, but we also have had occasions where um, we let people, they were learning some basic navigation skills with the ATONs and what they could expect, what it would look like out on the water.
This is Peace River. We have used it at a home and garden show, and it was a great eye catcher. It attracted a lot of attention, which gave us an opportunity to talk to people. We just had our first ABC class in the new education center this past Saturday, and we're looking at ways that we can incorporate it into both the outreach activities and the classroom activities. And I think the docking, even if it's the Tampa Bay, the docking will be the first feature we use with it. My assistant SEO was sitting back here nodding his head.
Oh, you were talking about eye catching.
Yes.
And
oh,
one of the things you can do here is you can, if you want to catch people's eyes, you can pick a piece of scenery, wherever it may be, and you want to okay, I want to add a waypoint, add another waypoint, Add another waypoint. Okay, and just keep going. Build yourself a route. And then start your boat running on it. And then depending on you can either press the I believe it's the A button that turns the autopilot on or off, yeah. Or that will be actually one of the buttons I add to the tablet to turn the autopilot on. And then you can have these routes run. I've done it at the conferences where I just had routes running for an hour in between things so that people could see it running, and it's an eye catcher. And it doesn't require someone to sit there steering the vessel the whole time. So just a thought.